How much protein do you need, specifically for your age, sex, gender, and purpose? First off, what does protein do for you? Although I'll assume you already know, judging by the fact that you're wanting to know how much you need. Protein is an important part of the healthy diet. Proteins are made up of chemical building blocks called amino acids. Your body uses amino acids to build and repair muscles and bones and to make hormones and enzymes. They can also be used as an energy source. Okay, so how much do you need of that thing? Well, this actually can vary between each individual and their needs. Now I'm going to give you what science says and suggests as per the multitude of studies out there, and what in my opinion is on a practical sense. Note, here we are strictly talking about how much grams of protein you require, not what sources. I would recommend going for complete protein sources with all 9 amino acids, but I have other videos over my channel about this that you can check out. And before we start, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's go. Firstly, is protein requirement different at different age groups? According to the RDA, which is the recommended dietary allowance, there is, but this is because it recommends that you derive 10 to 35% of your calorie intake from proteins, and of course someone younger requires less calories, therefore their protein numbers would be lower. But let's look at what the recommended dietary allowance is. For protein, it's a modest 0.8 grams of protein per kilo of body weight and 0.36 grams per pound of body weight. The recommended dietary allowance is the amount of a nutrient you need to meet your basic nutritional requirements. In a sense, it's the minimum amount you need to keep from getting sick, not the specific amount that you're supposed to eat every day. So essentially, if you're someone where muscle growth or maintenance is a concern, don't go by this. In terms of sex, the RDA recommends about 56 grams of protein per day for a man and 46 grams a day per woman, and they say equality is dead. Now again, these are ridiculously low macro values. For example, they state for a 50-year-old woman who weighs about 140 pounds, who is sedentary, doesn't exercise, that translates to around about 53 grams of protein a day. There is actual further research and data on the over 65s as well here. I don't know if any over 65s is watching here, but you may know someone over 65. So this is taken from the PMC PubMed Central. It states, data regarding long-term evaluations of data needs in aging adults with a use of novel, more accurate assessments techniques is scarce, and it is identified as an academic research priority. Acknowledging all these factors and supported by a large body of new evidence, the International Pro-Age Study Group and European Society for Clinical Nutrition and Metabolism concluded that daily protein requirement of healthy individuals over 65 is 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram. Further increase is recommended for individuals with acute or chronic illnesses, 1.2 to 1.5 grams per kilo, and severe illnesses, injuries, or malnutrition, 2 grams per kilogram. Although these new recommendations have been formulated for adults over 65, this is only an agreed conceptual cutoff point, since it has been estimated that 0.5 to 1% of the muscle mass is lost annually from the age of 50. An increased dietary protein intake may be required earlier in life in order to mitigate the muscle aging process. Now, in terms of gender, if you are a they, them, the protein amount requirement is only joking. Okay, so that's the RDA. Now, there are further scientific research papers on protein requirements for those of us who are concerned with muscle building. Usually this comes out at around 0.75 grams per pound. The general consensus amount coaches and PTs is usually 1 to 1.5 grams per pound. And for the more severe cases of those who are quote unquote bulking, this delivers up to 2 to 2.5 grams of protein per pound. Now the most important bit, what do I think? So from practical use over years of doing this, and while I really state this, the RDA stuff, while strictly speaking, it has scientific bodies and research behind it, I thoroughly disagree with it. And I think as general people, we should be able to disagree, right? Because we're not strictly authoritative figures in the science field doesn't mean that we can't disagree and argue against a certain scientific quote-unquote consensus, even though that's not a word in the science communities. I actually like the 0.5 grams per pound body weight recommendation. Now, the reason for this is because I do think as gym goers and trainers, a lot of people overconsume protein. So for protein, basically you need a basic set value amount, enough to allow your body to maintain and grow muscle and stay healthy. Now, overconsumption, people would say, well, okay, well, what's the big deal? Overconsumption, I'll just piss it out. Well, no, maybe not. It can put tremendous work on your kidneys. And I've known people personally who have had they've been told by their doctor specifically to cut down the protein intake because of kidney damage due to a high diet of high protein. I think something around 0.5 grams to 1 gram per body per pound of body weight would actually be sufficient for someone who's looking to build muscle. Now, what do I think about higher values? With some clients, I would actually give them a slight higher value. The reason for this is because if there's someone who struggles to hit protein macros from the get-go, aiming for a higher value may be actually more sufficient for them. Now, they may not hit that value, but with the goal in mind of trying to hit that high, it will actually yield them a higher score of protein throughout the day. So if I give them 1.5 grams per pound, they may only come out at the end of the day of 1 gram per pound, but that's still a lot better than maybe what they were previously consuming of 0.5 per body weight. So it's these kind of like mind games we play. Aiming for a higher figure overall might actually be a better off. What I would say though is you can get away with lower amounts of protein. Now, stick obviously to the complete protein sources, complete chain amino acid sources. But what I can say is, especially even during prep, a time period where muscle is depleting and you're focusing on sparring, I can show you photos here. This is me about 4 weeks out. And I can tell you right now, my protein macros were actually around about 120, 110 grams. Actually, my carbs were about 180 grams. And my fats were about 50 grams. So the protein content was actually very low for that period of time. So for people out there to tell you, protein's the most important thing. And there is other micronutrients that's just as important, but you do need still a base level. So my recommendation, regardless of age, sex, or gender, or your purpose goal, well, I'm sorry, I'll specify this. So if your goal specifically is muscle maintenance with increased encouragement for muscle growth, you should be aiming around about 0.75 grams of protein per pound body weight to 1 to 5 grams on the higher range. And if you're off season, if you're looking to put a bit more weight on, I would still stick with that 1 gram to 1.5. Obviously, if you're someone not looking to build muscle, I would still recommend at least 0.6 to 0.75 grams per pound, because that is going to be a healthy sphere you're going to be in to be able to maintain everything you have at present. People talk about high protein levels for weight loss. The truth of the matter is, out there, some studies support the idea of high protein levels for weight loss and some studies don't. Obviously, a protein rich diet is healthy, but there is not really that many indicators out there that you need to go really overboard with this stuff. I'm going to throw one more hot tip in there as well, just in case anyone listening that is pregnant or knows anyone that's pregnant. During pregnancy, protein needs of a woman go up. Experts recommend about 75 to 100 grams of protein per day for that developing fetal tissue, as well as enlarging placenta, breasts, blood supply. So you should check with your doctor on your specific protein needs, of course. But for those who watching, obviously during your pregnancy, make sure those levels are up. And if you're a man and your partner is pregnant, make sure you're force feeding her breast of chicken. So that is it for the amount of protein that you require and how much. If you like the video, please do like and subscribe because I'd really appreciate it. And please head over to my channel as well for other videos on protein, protein snacks, protein meals, protein in general. Protein, everyone knows the word fucking protein. Please do comment below what your current values of protein are and what you find more sufficient for your daily existence. But until next time, this is Carl from the Ox Den. Have a great night.